Okay, in this story, The Wonderful Day, a rabbit named Roger finds a giant cabbage. He likes cabbage so much that he decides to take it home. Please read aloud pages 2 through 4 and then stop at the star. Okay? All right, you can start when you're ready.
Roger Rabbit could not believe his eyes. He stood still in the middle of the road. He stared and he stared and he stared. Then he just had to believe his eyes. That really was a giant cabbage sitting there in the road. I never saw a cabbage like that, Roger told himself. This is the most wonderful day I've ever had. A giant cabbage, all crisp and green, just for me. He began to roll the cabbage home. It was a big cabbage. Roger was a small rabbit. Every once in a while he had to stop and rest. But at last he rolled the giant cabbage right up to the door of his house. He pushed and he pushed and he pushed. Something's wrong, he thought. This cabbage is too big, or my door is too small. I can't get the cabbage into my house. This is such a wonderful day after all. Because Roger could not help himself, he began to cry. Big crushy tears bounced off the cabbage.
Okay. I want you to think about the title and the pictures you've seen so far in the story and what you've read so far. Tell me 3 things you think might happen in the rest of the story.
I think some more rabbits will come and help him get him to get inside the door, get the cabbage to go in the door.
Okay, what else might happen?
And then I think they'll might eat a little bit of it to make it go inside, but it's too big to eat it. So they'll try to think what other things they could do.
Okay, now it's time for you to read the rest of the story by yourself, and when you're done, I'll ask you to tell me what happened in the story.
I better stop crying, he said to the cabbage. Crying never helps anything. Thinking helps. I'll do some good things. So he thought. Then he had an idea. He left the cabbage where it was. He ran through the woods and called to his friends. Rabbits big and rabbits small. Rabbits, rabbits, one and all. Follow me, follow me. I got a surprise for you to see. Suddenly a long line of rabbits, all colored and all sizes, running after Roger. He led them to his house. Then he turned around and said to himself, see this cabbage? It's too big to go to my house. I don't want it to waste. So you are all invited to do a cabbage party, here and now. Roger did not have to ask them twice. They all began to pull bits of the leaf off the cabbage. They nibbled and chewed and nibbled and chewed. And then one by one they stopped eating. The biggest and oldest rabbit said, "Thank you, Roger. We've all had enough to eat." The cabbage was delicious. Remember, if you ever need a meal, just call on us. All the rabbits hopped home. This time they hopped slowly. They were all very full. Roger looked at his cabbage. It was not a giant cabbage anymore. In fact, it was a rather small cabbage. Roger rolled it closer to the door here. Then he picked it up and put it on the table. Roger Rabbit stood back and looked at the cabbage, and he began to laugh. "Yes," he said, "this is the most wonderful day I've ever had. A giant cabbage, a big party, and a little cabbage just the right size for me, for a rabbit like me."
Okay, So now I want you to think back without looking at the pictures in the book. I'm going to just turn it over like this. But without opening the book and looking in there, I want you to think about the beginning of the story and tell me what you remember about the beginning of the story. And start at the beginning and tell me in order, please.
I remember that Roger the rabbit, he wanted to he saw a big rabbit, he saw a big cabbage, and he was staring at it and staring at it and staring at it, and he wanted, and then he believed his eyes, and then he tried to take it home, and when he finally reached home, he tried to put it in the house through the door, but it could not fit. So, and then he said something's wrong. He was thinking that the door was too small or the cabbage was too big. And then he started to cry, and then he said to himself, I don't want to cry. Crying will not help. And he said that thinking will help. So he thinked really good, and then he got an idea that he left the cabbage and went to the forest and called all rabbits to come to his house. And then there was a big line of rabbits, and then they came to the house, and he said, see this cabbage? I want you to come to a cabbage party. And then they ate the whole cabbage, and they left some for Roger Rabbit, and then it was small for him to eat it, and he took it into the door and ate it. And that's all I could remember.
Okay, that was good. Okay, what do you think the author is trying to tell us in this story?
I think the author wants us to tell that if you have something really big and you can't take it into your house, you can call your friends over to help you.
Okay. What do you think was the most important thing that happened in the story?
That all the rabbits came, because if they didn't come, the Roger Rabbit wouldn't be able to eat put the cabbage inside of his house, because he was really hungry.
Okay, so that was important because the rabbits did what?
Stood hungry.
Okay, thank you. And for fluency purposes, this story was read in the fluency portion was read in 1 minute and 14 seconds.
Okay.